Hi, this is video number 166. I was going to hold off till tomorrow or Monday and do this video, but I got a couple emails overnight that I want to address here before too long, so I thought I would do this one today, and it's going to be a different sort of video. Okay, did my workout this morning, did the vacuuming for the week, so that's all done. Always glad to get the vacuuming done. Not my favorite thing to do. You see, maybe later I'll watch like some of the basketball, college conference games, championship series things. Watch some of that maybe. Going out to Longhorn Steakhouse tonight for my son's birthday. Family does that every year. Like birthdays are a big thing in this family, so we go out and eat. I've been to Longhorn once, and they have this incredibly good unsweetened peach iced tea. I could probably just sit there and drink a whole pitcher of that myself and not even eat, but I'll eat anyway. Last time I was there, I got a 7-pepper salad with steak. It was really, really good. It had blue cheese on it. It was excellent. So looking forward to that. Okay, yesterday, the second email or the second video, I mentioned what this one was going to be about. So I'll read it here and then we'll get into it. Hi, Dawn. I am a curious kind of guy. My wife says a bit too curious sometimes. My question is, how does your wife respond to Dawn 2.0? I am assuming she married and lived with a completely different man than the guy that you are today, based on your video descriptions. If this is too personal, forgive me. My brain is a little benzo-blitzed at the moment. Benzo-blitzed, I like that. Never saw that before. Okay. First of all, nothing is too personal, really. And that's part of Dawn. We won't call him version 2.0. It's actually Dawn version 5.0. So I'm going to have to explain that a little bit. I have to go through some of my history. Like I've talked about a lot of my history from when I was little until now. But to understand this completely, you have to kind of go all the way back to my beginnings. And I'll make this as quick as I can. Okay, Dawn version 1.0. First 12 years of my life. Okay, my mom was depressed. Apparently she had postpartum depression after I was born. I was always told Mom never was right after you were born, and then apparently she committed suicide, is what they say, when I was age 8. Okay, so during those years she was always moping around and kind of depressed. So I was really quiet and shy. I was very withdrawn. Even when my mother was alive, I was withdrawn because she was not a happy person. I do remember that. Okay, and then Dawn version 2.0. That's from age 13 till, well, just age 13 is when it started, okay? It was my teen years. I started drinking at age 13. I still was extremely shy, ridiculously shy, very withdrawn. I remember as a teen, I would not let people get close to me. I think actually I was a very sensitive person, but I realized that when people get close to me, they die, they leave in some way. So I would not let people get close to me. As a teenager, I was a pretty mean guy. Inside, I was not mean, but I had this very hard exterior that if you tried to get close to me, I had words for you. They weren't nice words, and I could get like really physical too. Like just don't even try to get close to me. That's how I was as a teen. It was not a good thing, and that followed me up into, I went to the Air Force in my when I was 19, I went to the Air Force. I got a little better in the Air Force, but I drank like a fish in the Air Force. I know fish don't drink, but it's an expression. I drank a lot in the Air Force. A lot of beer, wine, anything I could get my hands on. It was just a way of life. So you could get a little bit closer to me in the Air Force, but I didn't really care because I was always drinking. So anyway, Dawn version 3.0, okay? That is around the time when I met my wife's family. I was age 26 then. My wife's family was just awesome. Well, her father and mother are gone now, but they were very, they cared about each other. They loved each other. They would spend time with each other. Completely opposite of my family. My family was, because my mom died when I was little, and I had siblings, but we were all without a mother, and our father was gone most of the time, so very dysfunctional. But my wife's family was like really, really cool. I remember the first night I went to her place, and when I got there, they were all sitting in the living room watching MASH. It was like a comedy back in the day, and I thought that was pretty weird. And I went in and sat down for like an hour with them and watched MASH, and I still was very shy at the time. And then later we went downstairs, my wife and I, and hung out together. But I remember that first night when I would leave. I was going to leave Harrisburg and go back to where I was living at the time, a town called Shippensburg. And my future mother-in-law, she would always, well, that particular night especially, before I could go out the door, she would have to hug me. Okay, she hugged me. And I thought, this is completely bizarre. Nobody's ever done this. So I remember driving home that night thinking that was very, very weird. But I also remember like smiling, thinking like, but I like that a lot. They're really beautiful people. Like, she was a wonderful woman. She helped me a lot when I started my whole mess on psychotropic drugs. She helped me a lot then. I was still drinking as in my version 3.0. I was still very quiet, but I was reachable. You could kind of reach me some. And I attribute that to my wife's family. They're just, I could see like, you can get close to people and they want to be close to you, and maybe take a little risk and get close to someone. In version 3.0, that was the time when my psychotropic drug career began. I've talked about this before. I had trouble at work. And at the same time, my daughter turned to a teenager and her rebellion began. It got incredibly ugly. I just kind of lost it. I was polydrugged for a year and a half. The whole thing just got so incredibly ugly. But it did kind of sort out toward the end of version 3.0, but I was still on Klonopin. And when I was on the drugs for a year and a half, I quit drinking, but when things kind of got sorted out somewhat, I started drinking again. Okay, so that took me into version 4.0, okay? And as I was drinking, while I was on the Klonopin, my drinking just got worse and worse and worse. And I honestly attribute that to the Klonopin, being intolerance withdrawal. At the time, I didn't know, but I tried so many times to quit drinking, I could not do it. I just physically could not stop myself from drinking. So when I did finally quit drinking in October of 2009, I got post-acute withdrawal from having no more alcohol in me, and tolerance withdrawal from, I was still on Klonopin. So I was intolerance. And then like that, the version 4.0 was the ugliest of all of the versions. I was in withdrawal. I was like the zombie. I was terrified. All kinds of fear, panic attacks, anxiety, depression. And interestingly, during that time, I've mentioned this before, I was absolutely certain, there was no doubt in my mind, my wife was going to leave me, because I thought, if I were her, I would leave, because I was pathetic. I was worse than a child. It was just, whenever we would talk, all I would talk about was how bad I felt. I felt bad for her. I really, really did. And I can remember the room across the hallway here, standing there at different times, looking out like where the bird feeder is, and thinking like, what am I going to do when she leaves? Because she has to leave. I mean, how can you stay with someone like this? This is horrible. But she didn't leave. I remember thinking, can I actually make it over to the grocery store, which is 5 minutes away? And if I do, like, what am I even going to buy? I don't even know what to buy, because my brain was like dead. I couldn't reason out like what kind of food I should get. If I could have done it, I probably would have just bought junk food. I don't know, and maybe milk. I don't know. But anyway, she didn't leave me. So I got through withdrawal, and that brings me to the current version, Dawn 5.0. Okay, this is the happy, joyous, free version. Since the summer of 2012, right around, was about two years that I had been off, almost, not quite 2 years. I was happy, joyous, and free. I was well, and I was happy, joyous, and free with everyone. I could see strangers and start talking about how good I felt and like what I went through, and I was not shy about anything. And I've said this before, I felt like a 12-year-old in a 58-year-old body. It's unbelievable. I wasn't quiet anymore, which is vastly different from the person I was for our whole marriage up to that point. I had a great desire to travel. Before that, I never wanted to go anywhere except like somewhere where I could get a drink. I mean, I drank at home too a lot, but like into her parents, we went in there a lot, and I drank a lot. I drank a ton in there. A lot of Manhattans when I went in there. Her father liked Manhattans, and he would always keep the glass full for me. Okay, the traveling, I like to travel now. Okay, sports. I've always liked sports, but mostly sitting at home watching it. Now I like to go to the baseball games, the Harrisburg Senators. Hopefully going to Boston this summer to watch, the Yankees and the Red Sox. Football games. My friend Jason and I have been up to Penn State many times. Hockey games. We've gone to quite a few hockey games over the last few years. Something else, the tattoo. Like my wife, I remember when I thought about, like, I want to get a tattoo, and I would be the last person on earth you would think would get a tattoo. And I remember one time in the car discussing it with her, and it developed pretty much into a fight, and that's very rare. We have not had many fights in our life together. And she's okay, the tattoo, I mean, you've probably seen it before. It's Benzo Survivor, Happy Joyous Free, and you got the bluebird there and the 3 monarch butterflies. And I did it because it's a message. To me, it's a message, and people see that and they ask, and I've shown it to people, like at church and stuff. I didn't know, like, because church people can sometimes, but a lot of them have tattoos anyway. But and I've talked about this too. When I had surgery the one time, they actually read it while I was waiting there for the surgeon to come in the room. Like the anesthesiologist read it, and they talked about it, and I got to discuss it a little bit with them. But anyway, I'm thinking about adding on to it. She's not real thrilled about that, like maybe embellishing it, a little bit, change the design around, or add some sunlight or some clouds or something. I don't know. Okay, so the tattoo, I got away with it. She's accepting the new 5.0 here. The beard, that's been a biggie. For the life of me, I can't believe she's allowed me to do this. That sounds wimpy, huh? She has gone along with the beard. Every now and then she'll ask me, like, didn't you say at the end of the year you were gonna? I said, well, I didn't say I would. I said I wouldn't do it before then. But like earlier today, like at lunch, she found a long white hair on, I think it was on her shirt or something. And she said, that's disgusting. That's gross. So I don't, the beard is, every now and then we discuss it. Okay. And we talked about this too. Like as I've gotten well and I've been helping people, I used to take a ton of telephone calls. I'd be on the phone a lot. Phone was always ringing. I spent hours upon hours messaging people. Spent a lot of time on the laptop. So there's just been that. But then, she hears about, like, I don't talk too much anymore about specific people because it was starting to bring her down. She takes everything very seriously and she takes it to heart. And I'm kind of used to, I went through this, so I know the feelings. I know all of the different kinds of feelings people share with me, and it's not particularly dangerous. It feels like crap, but it's not like somebody's going to go out and do themselves. And I felt like that for every day for many months. But anyway, we did that book in our small group that I lead, Healing for Damaged Emotions. And it's about like anxiety, depression, and all that. And like she sat in the class with me, but I could tell it was getting to her. It was getting to me too, because it was, it was a lot about depression and that. So she brought that up earlier today. Like I sat in on that too, and that was hard for me. And see what else. My book, the book that I wrote, is a very out there book. Like I don't withhold much of anything in the book. And her story is in there. I've talked about this. She has schizophrenia. She's had it since her early 20s. She takes medication. There has been some very bizarre behavior, like way back before we knew what it was. I share that in the book. She's a private person, and there is no privacy being married to me anymore. So sorry about that. And she's also concerned about, in the book I talk about being an alcoholic for so long and drinking, and I share that a lot with people. And she's a private person, and she's worried that people will think, well, we had an abusive relationship, and like, you know, I was always drunk, and it's certainly not the way it was. I mean, most alcoholics are not like that. They're like secret drinkers. There are a lot of alcoholics you would never guess. But she worries about that people think I was an abusive husband and father. It's really not the way it was, but it's been hard for her. Okay, it's been hard for me to adjust to this 12-year-old. Honestly, I felt, when I got well, I felt like a 12-year-old. I felt like a kid in this old body here. I've learned things and experienced things that most people would when they were in their teens. I feel life now that I didn't feel back then because I was drinking, and then later I was on, you know, the psych drugs. It's been difficult for me to adjust to. I remember early on when I was feeling good, and I remember calling different people and asking them their opinion, and they probably thought I was nuts. I don't know. Clearly, some of them didn't understand exactly what I was getting at because they just didn't. But so it's been hard for me too. But my wife, I mean, it has to be hard for her. It had to be hard because I'm the one that experienced it, and I had trouble adjusting. So she has had trouble. I wrote some notes here about my wife. Like leaving me, the whole concept of leaving me, it never crossed her mind, she said, not even for a moment. She said, I never even thought of leaving you. And back when she was having trouble in her early 20s, and she was in the hospital for a week, and it was hard. I remember it was hard for me. Like, what am I going to do? I have a toddler and a baby. My wife's in the hospital. I have no idea what's wrong with her. But it never crossed my mind, I'm going to leave. That just seems absolutely cruel. That seems absolutely, I mean, here you are, like the person you're supposed to be in love with, and you're going to kick them when they're as sick as they've been in their entire life. That's just cruel. That's wrong. Okay, it's been difficult for her. She has seen this whole thing through spiritual eyes, a spiritual journey. I've mentioned this before when I came home. The night I came home from the hospital, the psych hospital, her saying, like, you know, this is a spiritual journey. There's a spiritual part to this. And I said, yes, I know that. Even as messed up as I was, there was something inside of me that knew, yes, there's something spiritual about this. There's something really important about this that I'm going to hopefully learn before I die. And we were talking a little earlier. She used the word thankful. She's extremely thankful that I've had the opportunity to experience all the things I missed in my life. I missed a lot of stuff for nearly 50 years, really. It really is amazing, but she's thankful. She's always felt bad for me because of my early life. Like, my early life was not good. And it's funny because I would rarely even talk about my early life, but once in a while when we were drinking, I would sit there and just get blitzed. She would have 1 or 2 glasses of wine, and I would just mention a couple little things about growing up, and I just sit there and start sobbing. It was embarrassing, and it's still kind of embarrassing. I would just sit there, and because she had such an incredible childhood, and mine really was, it stunk. It just stunk. We've walked a long way. Our path together has not been easy, believe me. It's been it's almost, it makes us weary just looking back, like, do you remember this? Do you remember this? Do you remember this? And like we know who got us through it. We've taken care of each other. That's the biggie. We've been great companions. When she was down, I was there. When I've been down, she's been there. And there's never been one moment where, like, we're going to leave. I can't do this anymore. Because I think we both understand that as hard as it is for the one who's not sick, it's even harder for the one who's down. Yeah, I don't want to start crying here. So she's got a good heart, believe me. We've been great companions for 36 years. And she got her strength from the Creator, and she will never claim, ever, that she just got herself together and got through this, because she knows it's not true. I know it's not true of me either. Anything I've gotten through, I got through withdrawal and everything. It was a spiritual journey, just like, we discussed when I got out of the hospital back in 2010. It's that there was something important about this journey, something existentially important, eternally important about it, having to do with our heart, with the Creator, with the one who got us through. So we both know we didn't do this ourselves. We had big time help, that's for certain. So to sum up, okay, my wife's whole thing here, she's thankful, she's happy. Even though we're vastly different people, just very, very different from each other, in almost every way, the one commonality is what we believe. But that's the similarity that has bound us together for all these years. We're very, very different, but in what we believe about life and about its purpose, that is what has held us together, and that is the greatest glue there is. That has glued us together. We've had a lot of difficulty, but she likes who I am. She wants me to cut the beard some. She wants me to not add to the tattoo, but she's very thankful that, I'm happy, joyous, and free. And that makes her happy, joyous, and free too, even though we don't particularly enjoy doing the same things together. Other than like we'll go to a show together, maybe watch a movie here together, we talk a lot, go to like a jazz concert. We do both like jazz, and sometimes we go down to the Whitaker Center or the Forum in Harrisburg when there's a nice, something jazzy going on there, and watch that and listen to that. So it's been hard for her, but she has come out in a good place. She's happy for me, even though she does not completely understand everything. Version 5.0 could have been just the opposite of what he is now, what I am now. And we are both very, very thankful that it didn't go in that direction, because it very easily could have. I remember when I was still working, I wasn't too far from the retirement age, and I was worried, like, what am I going to do when I retire? Am I just going to go home and sit and wake up and drink and just drink myself to death? I was terrified of that. And of course, what kind of future is that? And the spiritual part of this, God got a hold of me in some way, and I have no idea how it was done, and completely reversed everything. Took the booze away, took the Klonopin away. I had no idea Klonopin was the problem, but he made me aware of it and said, well, we got to get you off of this too. And it was not pretty, it was not fun, it hurt like crazy, but here I am, and my wife's here, and we're still walking the path, and we'll keep walking it until it leads to wherever it leads. So my wife's happy. It was hard for her, but we have come out in a good place, and we both understand that and realize that, and we're very thankful for it. And yeah, so that's the answer to the question. It's a very long answer for such a short question, I know, but that's how it was. It's and life is good now. Life is good. Life is I tell you this over and over, because it's true that my version 5.0 is, I can't imagine it being better, but it does keep getting better. It's new things are revealed to me. I think I get a little more wisdom here and there, like when I see things and experience things. Life becomes more amazing to me the more I live it, the more I see, the more I am amazed at everything that's here on earth, and what the gift I have been given. I've been given a tremendous gift, and anyone who comes through this, it's an incredible gift, and it's not one that you open and say, oh, big deal. It's one that's like, it's beautiful. It's precious. I can't think of a better gift, really. So anyway, that's what I have to say about that question. Life is good, and it's going to be good for all of you too. It just takes time, but the gift on this side is incredible. It's just it's beyond description. Just like all of the miserable feelings of withdrawal are indescribable, the good stuff on this side is also equally indescribable. So I'm at 25 minutes here. I managed to ramble on there for 25 minutes, but this one was kind of fun. Like looking back on how bad it was and how good it is now, it's just incredible. It's amazing that you know, to me, you can get through anything. There's a way through absolutely anything. And if there's something harder than benzo withdrawal, I haven't met it yet, but I don't want to go there, believe me. So anyway, I'll stop here now. And as always, I'm right here, and I will be right here. Hope you have a good weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.